Hey, this is Wileen Benson, and you are on the Daily Gratitude Call, where we start every day in gratitude. Gratitude is the highest energy state that we can be in. It creates a frequency of positive vibration that attracts positive experiences into our lives. Hey, everybody, this is Wileen Benson. This is our Daily Gratitude Call. Thank you all for being on the call today. Thanks for being here live, and also those who are listening on the podcast. Thank you. Welcome. I'm excited for what we get to learn today, what we get to create today on this call. I'm not going to give any background. I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and start. I have my timer set for 90 seconds. We're going to do a private silent meditation to begin with on gratitude for remodels. Gratitude for remodels. And so grab your paper and pen, write down whatever comes to you. This is your own personal inspiration on gratitude for remodels. 90-second private meditation, begin. All right. There were a couple things that came to me, but the first thing was internal change, like an internal remodel. I'm actually experiencing some of that right now, especially over this past couple of months as we've been doing our mastermind group, The Lord's Way to Wealth. I've been really experiencing an internal remodel going on with my belief system, with what I understand, with allowing my spirit to really grow and magnify, to show me what's what, because my spirit has more of a muscle memory from pre-earth life and understanding the way things are created and all that kind of stuff. So that was one thing that came to me. And then immediately afterwards, I thought of my home, and we've done several remodels, probably 5 remodels over the 32 years that we've lived here. My husband and I bought this house 2 weeks before we got married, and we had 3 kids here. They've all grown. They're all grown, and 2 of them have left the nest. One of them is still here, but working full time, and she's not here a lot. So we're kind of sort of getting into the empty nester phase. And our home, I'm planning another remodel based on what our family is doing now. And I just wrote that I'm really grateful that my home is willing to endure change, adapting, evolving to the changes and seasons of our lives. And the thing that really struck me is that it really takes vision to have a remodel be successful. You have to be able to see what the end result is that you want, and sometimes even invite in like an architect or a designer or someone a contractor, somebody who knows what's possible within a certain space. And I've even taken like painter's tape and taped off some areas on the floor so that I can see how much space this remodel is actually going to take up, how much space it's going to leave in the room, how much expansion, I'm going to get. And to be able to really see it, I've sometimes had to, take a tape measure and like actually tape stuff off or set up, put a chair here and a chair here so I can see how much space is actually going to be created by knocking out this wall, or whatever. A physical representation within the home so I can walk through it, so I can actually feel, what it's going to be like. And that's necessary for it to be successful. And I know that's true, that you have to be able to see the physical representation of it, because my husband and I at one point thought we were going to move because we thought it's not possible to remodel our home to exactly what we need now. And which, by the way, wasn't true, because I did actually get an inspiration of how to do that. And you can read about that in my book, The 7 Gateways. But when we were out looking at homes in our price range, they were similar in age to our home, but they'd all been remodeled. Almost all of them had these patchy remodels that had been tacked onto the back of the house, or some really odd hallway that was created so that, there was now a master bathroom attached to the bedroom or something. I mean, it was just like weird stuff. And that was the result of not having, the ability to really envision what it was going to look like at the end. Well, at least that's the way I'm judging it today in my private meditation. So having the ability to envision the remodel at the end, incorporating, contractors, designers, whoever, that can come in and give professional advice, and then also laying it out in physical representation, actually being able to envision it, and creating it so that it looks like it was meant to be there all along. That takes some time. It takes a gift sometimes. And if you don't have that gift, it takes bringing in some professionals who are gifted at that. And I can use all of that with the very first thing that came to me with this internal change. All fits. Who else has something that they would like to share?
I could share. It's Sean.
Thank you.
So I started the same, thinking like remodeling the framework of my life and what my priorities are, what I'd like to achieve, and then remodeling my belief system to match that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first thing I thought of after that is to remodel my actions and habits to match, and how important that is, that if you're not, kind of remodeling the habits that you have and falling back in old routines, then all that work you do remodeling your mind doesn't produce anything.
Thank you. Oh, I really appreciate that. And that actually gives me a little bit more understanding about the physical representation. That's what you're doing when you're putting actions and habits in place. It's a physical representation of this choice that you're making to remodel the framework of your life. There are some things that we kind of just have to allow gestation to take place. Like in my home, I can't just snap my fingers and have, a doorway put into my office that's right off of my front door, which is one of my next remodel projects. And I can't just snap my fingers and have that happen, but I can turn my desk to face that door so that it's like making a physical change. So it's like evidence that this is happening. Thank you. Who else?
I came in late, but
So we're focused on gratitude for remodels.
Right.
Go ahead, Phil.
So I loved how you said that you get it down on paper, right? Like like you had it drawn out before you did the remodel so that you could see how it's going to look. But the thing is that sometimes we don't do that. Sometimes we just think, I'll just think through this. I'll just, process it in my mind, and I'll get myself to change myself just by thinking through it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just like, that's like building it in spirit. Like the remodel just never happens. Like you got to get it out of the mind and onto the paper so that you can become separate from it, so you can see it for what it is. So you can stand back and look at it, and then you can recognize what it is. And then you're not trying to just deal with it internally. You're actually looking at it as if it's apart from you.
Awesome. Awesome. There's a lot of power in that too. If you have taken any of my classes on vision boarding, you know that when if you think about like solid, liquid, gas, solid is what we want, right? It's the physical representation that we're inviting into our lives. And as long as it is a gas, just a thought, it's we might have the imagination in our mind, but we don't have the solid thing. And there has to be a process of changing a gas to a solid. If you think about steam, you've got to cool the steam. You have to put it in the freezer to make it solid. So there has to be some, process of change that happens. And putting it on paper, the paper is something I can pick up and show someone. It's actually a physical representation. So it's sort of like liquid at that point. I can still change it. I can use my eraser. I can, without getting a sledgehammer out to knock down a wall, I can make a bunch of changes. But that is the first step to having a tangible evidence that this is coming. Thank you.
Can I add one more thing to that?
Sure.
The thing is that our minds use our visual cortex takes up a lot of our brain space, like the processing that goes on in our visual cortex. And so when we do get it down where we can actually see it physically, we're using that big part of our brain to process things.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes it more real for us, and it gives us more power than it had before. So.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Because our imaginations are really powerful. I mean, they've proven that you can imagine something over and over again, and it actually can become a thing. Like people can imagine shooting free throws perfectly and actually have it happen. But when you create a physical representation of it, that makes it easier to envision. So I'm hearing what you're saying, that it's taken up a lot of that brain space. You're using the biggest part of your brain to create something, and adding a physical representation on paper is helping that to process even faster, even better. Thank you. Any last thoughts before we shift over to our permission process?
I wanted to just mention that I'm so grateful for the remodel of my body, my mind, and my spirit. And it all works together. If one is off, if one room is off, then it can affect the others. And so I know that is true because I've been experiencing it more lately. So I'm just really grateful I can remodel, that my body responds. And at any age, you can remodel your life and give attention and love to your body, which affects your mind and your spirit. And they all just work together. And I'm really grateful to be able to stretch and be open up my body. It's just been amazing. It's like a free-flowing feeling of the remodel. Just it's free and flowing. It opens up so much in your life and in your mind and in your spirit. How you've got to experience it to know to really know. But once you catch a glimpse of what it can look like, then you just move forward with it.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Just catching a glimpse. And that's kind of what you're saying, that all of it works together. I just want to share the very first remodel project that we did was we put bigger outside lights. We had, when we moved into the house, there were these little tiny, I swear, like 5 inches in diameter lights on the outside of the house. And we live in a place where when we moved here, there were only like 6 houses on the street, and it was just fields. And so there was like, and no street lights. So it was super dark at night. And it was like, this is not, helping. And so we bought these bigger lights to put on the outside of the house. And it was amazing how that one thing, just like you were saying, mind, body, spirit, all connected. And if one room is off, then the whole thing, it affects everything else. Also, when you make one change, when you get a tiny glimpse of something that needs to change, you make that one change. And it wasn't very expensive. It wasn't very hard to change out those lights. But as soon as those lights were changed, then we were more aware of some of the other things that needed to change. And one thing kind of led to another to make that house our home. This was a brand new house that we moved into, and just making that one little change opened up. And there were several other things that came right after that to make it really feel right for us and comfortable. Thank you. All right, let's go ahead and take a deep breath. I think this is a really good space for us to get into our permission process, where we can catch a glimpse of maybe one little small change that we can make today that will lead the way to everything, mind, body, spirit. And possibly this is a change within your environment as well. So whatever it is that comes up for you today, just honor and trust that. Know that that is the perfect remodel opportunity for you. One more deep breath. So I invite you to be open and just be aware of this concept of remodeling, and the gratitude that we have the ability to remodel. That even sometimes changing a pillow on your couch will be the catalyst to make a major change in your life. It can be, it doesn't have to be a major overhaul. And just the gratitude that we have that one small change can change everything, because everything is connected. And as you're just being aware of this concept of remodel, just ask the question, is this an internal remodel? Is it an external remodel? The outside of your body that other people see? Or is it an environmental remodel? And included in that environment could possibly be people, relationships, could be habits, just anything that is produced based on your actions or your choices. So get clear, is it an internal remodel, an external remodel, or is it an environmental remodel, something that you've that has been created already? And being aware of that area of your life that is time and that you're ready to experience a remodel. What is the one most important thing that you could do today that would give you evidence that you can make this change, that you can create this remodel? What is the one most important thing that you could do today that would give you confidence and faith and help you to have the courage to make that change? And as you're considering taking that step today, what is the number one limiting belief coming up for you about this area in your life that you're ready to change, possibly that inspired shortcut that you received that maybe seems like too small or too big, whatever it is. What is the limiting belief about remodeling this particular area of your life? And with limiting beliefs, there's always a cost attached. So what is the cost of having that limiting belief? If you keep that limiting belief, what is the result that is inevitable? And if you don't like that result, then you definitely can remodel your beliefs. That's something that we know we can do. But you do have to give yourself permission to do that. So you can definitely choose to keep that limiting belief and the cost that's attached to it, or you can choose to give yourself permission to choose some new beliefs. And if you're ready to do that, say yes.
Yes.
Awesome. So what are those new beliefs that you would like to embrace? Let go of the limiting beliefs and remodel them into something new that will give you the power, the courage, the confidence to be able to take this inspired shortcut today, and that will also carry you through, will allow you to see the vision of the finished product and how it can look. New beliefs that will empower you to be able to see this change through, this remodel through to the end result that you desire, and have it look seamless, no patchiness, no patching things together, that it looks as if this was always the way it was supposed to be. It flows easily, and something that you can be proud of, a masterpiece. What are your new beliefs? In a moment, I'm going to open it up for some shares. I would love to invite any of you that are in the middle of a remodel, or you're beginning a remodel and just would like some extra support in helping you see the vision of that complete picture, or maybe getting clear with what the first step is. I would love to have a conversation with you. We can just have a 15-minute consultation. Just look at me as like your master designer, architect, contractor, whatever, that is going to bring this skill to the table that maybe you're not as good at, of being able to envision this in product. And all you have to do is just go to askwylene.com, and that takes you directly to my calendar, and you can schedule a 15-minute call with me. It's a free call. It's a free private mentoring session, to be able to really open up and know what is the very most important thing that you can do. What is the key thing that is going to allow you to be successful in this remodel? Who has something that they would like to share about their experience today?
I'll share. So, in the beginning meditation, I was thinking a lot about how remodeling allows us to use our agency, and instead of just, being acted upon and allowing other forces to, a lot of times I like to use the term forfeiting agency, when we just allow other things to, blow us wherever. And it's just, to me, that mindset is really kind of lazy and full of ingratitude. But so I was just, my shortcut today was the phrase that came to me was that I can obey. And when I think of obey, the first word that comes to my mind is agency. And I didn't have any limiting beliefs coming up, but one one belief that I did write down was, I recognize the power of, and I'm grateful for my agency. And I'm very grateful for God for giving me experiences here on this earth that allow me to learn and clearly recognize the power and strength that I have within myself.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that, Tammy. And how awesome it is that, Christ's atonement is really what gave us that opportunity to try again, to change, to make changes within our lives. And I love that idea of that I can obey. That is one thing I can do. And also, when we see an area in our life that is, to find gratitude in it. That's the first step to allowing ourselves to make a change, is when we can find gratitude in what is, and also believing that I can change. There can be some changes made. Otherwise, we give up. We succumb to unbelief. If we see something that is and say, it's just the way it is, and I just got to live with it. I just got to, hopefully be happy in it, whatever. That's not true. We have the ability to make changes within our lives. Thank you. Who else?
Can I just share something I'm just deep in thought about, because it's really helped me clarify something. But,
thank you.
Because I've been working on the physical part of us and involving that in the creation. And the thing is how great the plan of our Maker to give us a physical way to come to the knowledge. And because we can't know something until we act on it. We can get a good idea and we can kind of visualize it and we can get excited about it, but until we act, we can't know it. And without our body, we can't know it. That's why when we leave this earth, that it just comes really a lot harder for us to know things, because for us to put it into practice is a physical thing.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, children especially learn really well by doing. And a lot of us, are tactical learners and we learn by doing. But you're absolutely right. It's faith until we put it into action. And then once we put it into action, we know. That's super powerful. Thank you. Any other last thoughts before we end our call today?
I'll share a little bit.
Just 1 second, Mary. Phil, I just want to really underline what you said about having the body, the plan of our Maker to give us the opportunity to be able to put concepts and principles into action, ideas that we get, that we can receive through inspiration and put it into action. I hadn't really considered that, and I just want to underline that. Thank you. Mary.
I was in the remodel of my life. I've been able to see how certain things honor me, and that now that I've been a lot more present, excuse me, and present in my life, I can see how that's a remodel. And how I am now able to physically be comfortable in my own space. And my next step for today, my next inspired step was to just work on my real estate, and part of me, the limiting belief was I can't sit still long enough excuse me. But I don't really have to sit the whole time without moving, so that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lack of belief that I can just sit for that long. But that physical, I lost my train of thought. So my new beliefs are, I am engaged in my lessons. I am enjoying my lessons. I am grateful for my connection with God. I have a clear action plan, and I learn by doing. So even though I'm sitting, my mind is engaged, and there is movement because I can move. So it doesn't have to look a certain way only.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's movement and flexibility in that honoring the space that I'm in
Mm-hmm.
and that I need.
Beautiful. What I wrote is, I have to know me. I think for us to really, remodel our lives to a place where it really fits us, we have to know us before we can really create that vision. And what looks, some people can sit in front of the computer and scroll through MLS homes hour on hour. Other people like you, Mary, you might be able to look at a few, and then you get up and go for a walk, and then you come back, and then you do, it doesn't have to look, you might get a yoga ball that you get to bounce on, while you're sitting in front of the computer. You might have a taller desk so you can stand in front of the computer. It can look totally different for you than it looks for everyone else, but you know you best, and you know what makes you comfortable, and we all get to remodel our lives to align with who we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I honor me.
Yes, I love that. Well, thank you all for everything that has been shared. We are at the end of our time, so I know there's probably more that could be shared. Love to have you guys go to the Breakthrough with Gratitude Facebook group and share your thoughts there. And just super excited for what we get to create. This is really fun to be in a remodel stage and creating our vision. I encourage you all to write this down on paper, draw it out, whatever it is that you got today, really create a physical representation and put it up on your vision board, and just go forward with those inspired shortcuts every day until it's a physical thing. Thank you all for being here, and we'll look forward to tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Mountain Time.
Thanks, Wendy.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for listening, and I encourage you to tune in every day to the Daily Gratitude Call. And the Daily Gratitude Call happens live every weekday morning. I'd love to have you join. So to find out how to join live, go to my website, WileenBenson.com. Thanks for tuning in.